Vinny, if I was a homicide prosecutor, I hate to be the contrarian here, and the testimony of that medical examiner and the witness before her, who was a forensic pathologist, my heart would be jumping out of my chest in fear. These witnesses were horrible for the state, so we can opine all we want about what happened and why the tinfoil's there and the fingerprint. But the bottom line here is that these witnesses themselves admitted that the cause and manner of death could not be solidly determined, that they basically guessed as to whether or not it was a medical event as opposed to a homicidal act, and specifically because the baby was found in a garbage can. But when the defense attorney would confront each witness, one of whom had to be admonished to answer the question, is it possible the baby died before being put in the garbage can, had to admit that that was a possibility. Now, the government has to prove cause and manner of death beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm going to tell you, well, the first witness that you had on there basically was asked the question, can you define abuse for me? This is a forensic pathologist. She was given a softball thrown up to her. Can you define abuse to me? And she says, no, it's a trick question. I mean, she didn't say those words, but that's essentially, she looked there dumbfounded, wouldn't answer the question, and then the next witness comes on, the one that you just played, and this person gets on there, and she's got to be admonished in front of the jury to answer a yes or no question. This is a problem for the state.
I don't want deja vu, Bob.
When the medical examiner was cross-examined about whether that baby was dead when it went into the garbage can, said they could not tell. They're assuming the baby was. And if you assume, then maybe the baby died of positional asphyxia. The medical examiner also didn't go through the previous medical records of the child that showed the child had previous medical condition, like in my case. So when the prosecutor's witness was confronted with the idea that the baby may have been dead, however the baby was dead, prior to being in a positional asphyxia position, they did not refute it. They agreed with the defense.
And who killed the baby beforehand? Who had access to that baby but her?
Listen, I've done a lot of homicide work my entire career. I have seen people lie for all sorts of reasons. It could be a million different. I'm not siding with her. I'm not saying she didn't do it. I'm telling you from the standpoint of a homicide prosecutor, if I ever had two forensic pathologists, one who had to be chided by a judge to answer a question directly, both of whom said they can't tell you essentially what the cause and manner of death is, I'm not sleeping well as a prosecutor with that testimony. And if anybody's been around a courtroom and prosecuted a murder case whose forensic pathologist can't tell you what the cause of death is, I think would tell you easily that this is a problem.